while you're there if you can. Here we are, do your homework. Several people mentioned that before. This is important that you acknowledge that all participants bring legitimate purposes, goals, concerns, and interests, whether or not there's agreement. That you let me run the meetings, that would be nice, and that you come and have fun. So are these ground rules that everybody could feel comfortable with? And are there any other suggestions? I'm just going to ask everybody to do a thumbs up on this one, just so I can see that everybody's cool with it. Everybody good? All right, thank you. Cool. So we'll immortalize those then, memorialize those. So, all right, we are chunking along. Eric, we were going to talk about the terminology that's used in this. You all got a handout that came with your meeting packet. Is that pretty self-explanatory? Are there things that people have questions about that Eric or Melissa or Max, somebody here would know about that could answer?
The thought was that we need to have a common terminology and a common understanding of base terminology. I pulled those definitions off the State Commerce website and echoing a couple of comments. I'm sure you've all read through them. But if there's a need to discuss and make sure that we're on the same page when we use the term broadband or fiber or dig once or whatever the terminology we need to use, if we need to kind of reassess that list or add other terms, that would be appropriate. But I don't want to go through that list today. You're all very capable folks of understanding that. So it's just making sure that we're using the common terminology that we can build from. I'd hate to get 9 months down the road and realize we had a different understanding of what fiber optic actually meant. That'd be a crying shame.
So any questions? Everybody good with the list? Let's see a thumbs up. Oh my gosh, what a great group. I love it. All righty. Well, since we didn't need that, we are just right on schedule here tonight. It's amazing. So just briefly, agenda for the next meeting, just to get your thoughts, so that Melissa, RB, and Michelle get your thoughts. One of the things Eric wanted to share was that we want to move forward on this RFP as soon as possible. And Eric, do you want to say anything more about how we could set up the next meeting for everybody in that way?
Well, I certainly don't want to be the one. My recommendation for the group to consider is to essentially ask staff or ask myself to prepare a draft of an RFP based on the content of the resolution, and to share that with the group with your material packet, and have that ready for discussion at the next meeting. So we can do that. We can put the legwork to get a draft put together, and then have that available for your discussion at the next meeting. That might be an easy thing to start with for your next meeting.
I agree.
Yeah. Everybody good with that? Any comments?
If we do this, can we bring Gina Stark in at that next meeting? Just having read the Port of Bellingham's request for a proposal, and knowing, having seen her presentations on it, which are excellent, I think she would be great to also. I mean, yes. I don't know if someone else was scheduled for next meeting, but I think she would be great.
Yeah, and that's a great point, Christopher. And I want to make sure that the ex officio members, this first meeting was really organizational. Let's get ourselves together. The next meeting, the ex officios would be part of this group, part of the conversation. But in terms of establishing ground rules, it's important that this is the group doing the work, supported by the ex officios. That we did not want to have there's a concern. Let's elephant in the room, if you will. There's a concern that some of the ex officio members might dominate the group and push it one direction or the other. That's not the case. That's not going to happen. But we want to communicate clearly the roles of everybody into here, and it's the ex officios are to support us. But you folks are the one establishing the ground rules. So the first meeting is organizational in nature. The second meeting will be a different format. We'll have more people on the screen, and input and participation from all of the ex officio members. and their input onto what will make a good RFP for this particular topic. Now, I'm not an expert in broadband by any stretch of the imagination. I think I'm an expert in getting an RFP on the street once somebody writes it. but I need your help to do that. I need the ex officio members' help to do that. What would constitute a good RFP? What's the good deliverable? What's a realistic time frame of that? And so yes, I think both Gina Stark and all of the ex officio members would weigh into that as you would ask them to at the next conversation.
And
Okay,
Christopher,
sounds good. I support the motion then.
Yeah, Christopher, I think it makes sense to have Gina talk about at some point what's in their proposal, their RFP, too, just for your information to understand where they're going as well.
Are we able to do
Yes.
research on our own? I mean, all that information is public, right? Are we able to just go and research her work a little bit before the next meeting?
Absolutely. Yeah, and you're free to, do whatever you'd like in terms of preparing yourself to be as informed as possible for the meetings.
You can also ask staff to get that RFP and send it to you. So we can do that as well. And I'll assume that you just did that. So we're going to send you the ports RFP.
That would be great.
With that in mind, Max, excuse me, I am totally ignorant about the scope of the current fiber optic network within the city of Bellingham. Is there a map that actually has that?
It's on the website.
Is there, I'm sorry, what, Max?
It's on the website. Are you talking about the dark fiber map?
Yeah.
It's actually one of the main things that are on our broadband advisory work group site.
Well, that's helpful. Thanks, Max.
I think it's toward the bottom of the page. There's a
Okay.
If I could finish kind of where I was going also, I mean, if our next conversation is going to be trying to I guess, brainstorm where we want to go with this RFP, could we maybe as a group right now briefly think of some homework we should all do to try to prepare ourselves with good ideas for that conversation? Does that sound reasonable?
Do you have a suggestion to point people towards?
Well, Chris had mentioned, obviously, Gina Stark's work. I think that's a good place to start as well. I know John Humphrey has done an immense amount of homework on this, and I would think it would be great if we could solicit some of his, work maybe somewhere. I don't know the best way to do that since he's not an actual member of this group, either voting or ex officio, but if we could possibly coordinate that. There's also a good site where Chris Mitchell actually came from. muninetworks.org is a huge treasure trove of information. And there's all kinds of just well-documented case studies essentially across the country and even the world on municipal networks and how they've been done in various ways. So much information and so much food for thought. So I would definitely encourage everyone to go there and start learning about how other cities and municipalities.
Well, I have a suggestion on that because I was reading there's a Harvard study as well on municipalities. And maybe what we should do is share our resources, what we have seen, and provide each other with links so that we all have a common metric of what we're thinking about and sharing those pieces of information that we have.
So
Could I make a suggestion on this? How about if you send it all to me and then I will assemble it together in something to send back out to you. So we aren't flying around with, all sorts of emails on this. Okay. Yeah. Does that work, Max?
I think that's a great idea. Yeah.
Okay.
On the John Humphrey topic, Eric, since you've communicated a lot with him, do you have any distilled information from him that you could add to David's list?
I've got a number of resources that I could share that are RFPs and reports from other cities and agencies that have done very similar to work that we're doing. So I'd be happy to share that as part of that packet for the next meeting.
Okay.
All right. Oh, Michelle? Yeah.
Yeah, David, since you're going to be collecting all these resources, I would suggest we have some kind of a repository so that we can just go back and say, oh yeah, here's a bunch of resources and I want to go back and review this so we don't lose those links.
Yeah, this is what Eric was mentioning earlier on. There's a SharePoint site for you to be able to store all these documents and links and everything in. So probably what will end up happening is I'll get it from you. We'll put it up onto that SharePoint site. You're going to get a message, I think, from Iris probably tomorrow that will show you how to get to that site. And then everything will be there. So we keep it all in one place over time. Okay. So I'm looking at our time. We're 2 minutes over. I will be talking to everybody about formalizing the agenda. I'll probably draft something for Melissa and RV and Michelle, and then we'll have a quick check-in to see how that looks to you folks. Otherwise, that is pretty much what we had on our agenda tonight. I did want, as with most meetings, I try to do a quick check-in with everybody. Now that we've got our vision, we'll go back and in future meetings, we'll look at that vision, see how the meeting stacked up according to what you wanted. And I just want to ask, are there things that you would like to have different or things that you enjoyed about the meeting tonight that you want to note?
I enjoyed getting, go
sorry.
ahead.
Oh,
No, go ahead.
sorry, Melissa. No, I was just gonna say, I love that everyone's so engaged and really focused on everyone doing their homework, which I think enough of us have seen in past meetings is a problem. So glad we're all in agreement on that.
All right, thank you, Max. Yeah, Melissa?
I just enjoyed meeting everybody for the first time and seeing everybody finally and listening to voices. It was good.
You're here.
Agreed.
Cheers to that.
Anyone else have anything they'd like to share before we close off tonight?
Good job, David, keeping it focused. And Eric, thank you for your participation as well.
Thank you,
Ditto.
Stephen.
I
Thanks very
agree.
much. Well, if there's nothing else, I'll just say thank you to all of you for volunteering your time. This is a great and important thing for our community. I enjoyed meeting every one of you and learning something about you. And as I have mentioned to many of you, I feel like I have some kind of unique connections with all of you. So thank you very much. And Stephen, yep.
David, do you have, what's your, the email for the whole group will be coming, will come
Tomorrow. Yeah, you'll get all of
Okay.
that tomorrow.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I would just say, if you have any questions or want to share anything with me about how things are going, if you feel like you want to comment on the meetings and you don't want to do it publicly, you're welcome to just send me a note. I'm more than happy to talk to you about how we proceed in the future. So
Could you send your contact information then, please?
yeah, we'll have Iris put that in the materials that go back out to you. All right, Christopher, you want to say something? Oh, your microphone.
I think Michelle beat me actually.
Oh, Michelle, go ahead.
I yield to Christopher.
Oh,
Okay, thank you. I was just gonna, so kind of the 2-week meeting that we added in as a bonus can we all agree to get any research material to David by a week from now so that he has time to
Point.
compile it and we all have time to review some of it before that 2-week meeting? That's going to be important for the next, like, more official, they're all official, but if you want to, the next originally scheduled meeting.
yeah.
So
Please
1 week.
actually get it to me as soon as possible, because
As soon as
this
possible.
2-week turnaround is going to be it could be a lot of homework for you on this first couple of meetings. So
Yeah.
yeah, thanks. That's a great suggestion, Christopher.
Yeah,
Michelle, go
looking
ahead.
forward to the SharePoint invite as well. So
You bet.
I have a question for the group. Does anybody mind if I take a picture of my screen so I can see faces with names? Okay, I'm going to do that.
All right. Very good. All right. Thank you, everybody. Have a great rest of your evening, and we'll see you back here in 2 weeks. You'll be getting the note